How are you guys?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Matt Hancock,
Pretty good, thank
Kirsty
you.
Klein.
No.
Hey, thanks for getting together, guys.
No, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
So we've done a podcast separately earlier on in the year, and so I thought it was good to touch base at the end of 2020.
Oh yeah.
The end of the roller coaster we've all been on. But I wanted to ask you guys first, because there's a bit of debate around this. So when you guys go into an ice cream shop, are you ordering your ice cream in a cone or a cup?
Okay.
Cone?
Cup.
Cup?
Who gets a cone?
See, people get in heated debates about this. So I put up a story on Instagram, like, let's settle this. Are you cone or cup?
Yeah.
And 66% of people get a cup.
Yeah. Yeah, the boys.
Like, I thought everyone got cones.
I thought.
No.
Yeah.
Cone's too much effort. Because if it melts and it comes down the side of the cone. and you
That's
got
what everyone who
more-
gets a cup, that's what they say.
Yeah, but I just thought, well, there's no waste, zero waste, you know? Save the environment, eat the cone.
Eat the cup.
And I always find I hate scraping the bottom of the cone. The bottom of the cup, because it makes my
No, you
blood
just
run
fold the
cold.
sides down, just lick it. Yeah, because then you got a milkshake after your ice cream.
Back to the caveman days. What flavour ice cream do you like? Well, your favourite, you're on death row, what are you ordering? Mine's Hokey Pokey.
Don't you dare say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay, good.
Probably just chocolate chip, or cookies and cream.
Rocky Road.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
If she
Beautiful.
said mint, I would have been very unhappy.
Chocolate mint.
Chocolate, no.
So we've got 2 cones and 1 cup.
Cup for life.
Okay. So, well, on the Instagram story, like I said, 2/3 was cup.
I'll have to give it a try next time.
I have
Maybe.
to say though, like, how often do you buy ice cream
Not that
in a
often.
cone?
Well, every time I buy an ice cream, which isn't often, it's in a cone.
Yeah, probably once every couple of months, actually.
Probably because you get ice creams from Baskin Robbins, and do they?
I've done that once,
Oh.
and I'm pretty sure now it was a dream.
So you?
I think I dreamt we got grilled and then ice cream.
No, we've never done that.
Well, 2020, the start of this year, a lot of people said, this is going to be my year. I'm changing. I'm building this. I'm working towards this. I'm going to kill it. Times are great. And we all know what's happened. I wanted to ask you guys, now that we're, 6 days from Christmas, if you reflect back on 2020, what have you taken out of this year? What's changed for you? What lessons are you going to take out of it moving forward? You go first.
Okay.
Oldest first.
Okay.
So maybe first of all, what did you have plans for 2020 at the start? Did you have anything in mind? And then did that get derailed? Did anything change for you?
To be honest, I think every year when like everyone's setting goals and saying new year, new me, this is what I'm going to do. I very rarely have big goals that I set for myself to achieve throughout the year.
Yeah.
This year, to be honest, I can't really remember. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot's happened this year, and it's all been a big blur. And like at the beginning of the year when we first spoke, I had my blood clot and I was
Yes.
dealing with that. So that was like, that consumed probably nearly 6 months of the year. And during that whole time,
How's the blood clot now?
yeah, fine, it's all cleared up. So yeah, I think I was able to stop the medication in June, which was great. And then it allowed me to go back to training like normal, which was really good, and not feeling so crappy all the time.
Yeah. Apart from the physical changes with the blood clot and the medication, mentally, how were you during that time?
Despite the blood clot.
Yeah, despite the blood clot, how were you feeling mentally?
Yeah, pretty good. So for me, 2020, let's just break it down.
Yeah.
Blood clot happened. During that time, Corona happened. The gyms got shut. That was very stressful in the beginning. I was literally at work one day and then was told you can't go to work again for who knows how long the next day. So I had to as did everyone else. It was the same for everyone. Had to figure out how to go about that and what to do and what was best for my clients and my family and myself during that time. So I had to figure that out very quickly and do what was best. Because I still live at home with my parents and I didn't want to risk going out anywhere and doing anything in case I got sick and passed it on to my family. So I had to be a bit, I guess, selfish in a way with not continuing to see my clients and train them for quite a while. So
it was to protect the family.
Yeah, it was mostly for that because they were worried. My parents were worried about it. But then once I kind of figured out a good routine with all of that and just doing some online programming and Zoom sessions with my clients, and eventually as we kind of got more comfortable with it, I'd started going to the park and seeing a couple of clients at the park a week.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that was like 3 months at home because we have quite a close-knit family. It was really actually quite a good time because we all just spent every day together, doing things, going on bushwalks together, cooking roast dinners out by the ash pit, and we'd do a lot of stargazing at night.
I miss that.
Yeah, it was really fun. So I
remember seeing something, your parents are hanging upside down from a clothesline in fancy dress.
Yeah, that part happened too. There
Some wild things going on.
It was a good week of just dancing videos. That was the first week of lockdown. We just did a dance video every day, and Mum and Dad secretly really wanted to be involved, so we let them be involved. And that actually was probably the best part. They become the stars of the show.
They were a hit.
It was good.
There were people hanging on the next video to come out.
Yeah,
like
I know,
a series.
The pressure just kept mounting.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do we get better from this?
Yeah.
And then we just couldn't get better.
Well, the next step from them hanging upside down from a clothesline was launching them out of a cannon or something.
Yeah, and we just didn't have the facilities for that.
Yeah,
so
they were willing, but
we were waiting for a second lockdown to happen, so we had time to build something extravagant like that and then go from there. But it hasn't happened yet. Anyway, so yeah, I actually really enjoyed the lockdown time. And then during that time, Matt and I started seeing each other, which is really good too. So that was like we met in February, and then we kind of just chatted for a long time, like 3 months without ever seeing each other, and then we all went camping, bunch of friends, and then things just kind of moved on from there. So that happened, and then what else? When did we go back to work? July, maybe?
Yeah, around July.
July, things went back to relatively normal, our new normal, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's basically just been full on since then with work. Work's been very busy. I had a New Zealand trip planned to go with one of my girlfriends for September, and we couldn't do that, which is fine. We'll do it again when we can. But since going back to work, it's just been work. Yeah, a lot of weekend trips out camping and doing lots of hikes and getting in touch with nature, and Yeah. Has that been important for you this year? Nature, and because you've got a garden going now, and you had a garden series. Yeah, very good. Like, lots has happened. I had my garden series. That garden's just like very self-sufficient now. It doesn't really need me. It's grown really well. So yeah, for me, another significant thing I kind of went through this year, which is probably, it's a bit hard to explain to a lot of people, but it was probably around April, in the beginning of before lockdown maybe. No.
Before, so 23rd of March was the lockdown started?
March, or April's after March.
Yeah.
So it was just in the beginning of the lockdown period. Anyway, the best way I could probably describe it was I had been spending a lot of time out in my garden, and I had been doing a lot of things out in nature. It's like these moments of just pure peace and like clarity. You're just, nothing else is going on. You're completely present and aware of everything around you and surrounding you. And I had a moment of that just randomly when I was just sitting down in my garden, and I was like, "Wow, this is an amazing feeling." I couldn't quite grasp what I was experiencing, but
so it was peace.
Peace, just complete like inner peace, and nothing, like there was no thoughts going on in my mind. I was watching the birds in the tree, and I could hear the birds, and I was looking at the clouds in the sky, and completely absorbed in the moment. Yeah. So anyway, I like to listen to books on Audible. I don't read a lot of books. So I stumbled across an author, Eckhart Tolle, and I can't remember. It was like I went down this rabbit hole one night. I was just like up until 1 a.m. just like going through all these things, and I like one thing to the next thing, and then I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? And then I started listening to some of his stuff, and then I downloaded his books, and the first book I started listening to was called The Power of Now, and basically that book just kind of describes, you've read it now.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it explained everything that I was feeling, what I couldn't understand myself, in how to be present and to be aware of your mind and your thoughts, and to bring yourself back to being completely present in the moment, and how like if you can do that, how much more peaceful your life can be, and you don't constantly get caught up in the drama of life and people and egos and
stuff that doesn't matter.
Stuff that really doesn't matter. So that was a huge eye opener for me. And then from that book, I went straight on to the next one, which was A New Earth, which is kind of an extension on that. Anyway, so things just kept making more sense to me with that. And it really just completely changed my perspective on everything, I think. Yeah, I was able to understand a lot more about myself, about life, about other people, changed my view on people a lot, how I see people, how I interact with people, and just really the whole world. Yeah, it was up and down. I was very up and down for a while with how I felt about all of that, because it was very overwhelming in the beginning, and then we have to kind of learn how to just deal with it and accept it.
Yeah. Was it overwhelming in a good way, or overwhelming that was it changing your thoughts and feelings a lot for the positive?
It was sometimes it wasn't positive, sometimes it was positive. It was very there was lots of highs and lows. I felt like it was like once I started understanding one thing, I'd be like, oh well, that makes it really hard to. I felt it was difficult to. My interactions with people become really difficult.
Yeah.
Because of my new view on the way our minds work and everyone's mentality, and how crazy things are, which is super unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that part was, I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to then I didn't know how to connect with people after that. I felt it was isolating for me.
Yeah.
But then that progressed, and I was like, had to let go of some things and be more accepting, and just kind of like take a step back and say, okay, everything's fine. Nothing has to be taken too seriously. This is just what it is. And I'm aware of it. Other people might not be aware of it, but that's fine, because that's just the way the world is.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, it was just, so for me, basically, I don't know if any of that makes much sense to anyone, but
I'm probably going to share something similar, so.
I know it's been a similar experience for you. So I just, in a nutshell, this year gave me the time I think I needed to be away from the craziness and the normal routine that you just get stuck in. Take a step back out of that, see things clearly, get a good perspective into myself, and by just having more time to sit amongst nature, be outside, quieten my mind, I just think I've gained a huge amount of peace in my life.
Yeah.
It's hard to always stay that way once you get caught up in your day-to-day routine again. Once going back to work, it was easy to kind of fall back into those old habits of overthinking things and getting caught up in people's drama and all of that stuff. But you've got to, having that time to step back again and just kind of reset and go, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is good.
Did you find it became easier the more you practiced it, or the more you were aware of what your thoughts were?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just that constant awareness, and I feel like I'm aware of it all of the time. But then sometimes when you're talking to people or when you're with people, especially in the work I do, when you deal with people all throughout the whole day, you're talking to people, and it's different people all the time, and they bring their problems and dramas and everything to me. Sometimes it's just I can see what's happening. I know.
Yes.
But then it's easy just to drop down back to that level of unconscious conversation, if that makes sense. Just to make it easier to
get for you. It's like to get dragged back into the drama.
Yeah.
Dragged into the negativity, dragged into stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so by being aware that you are being pulled into it is the power to try and stay out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that exhausting, or are you able to you've got better at that?
I think I'm getting better at it. I'm slowly getting better at it. It's sometimes very exhausting.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah.
Depends what time of the month it is.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of things that's happening, how much sleep I've had.
Yeah.
Whether I am really hungry.
The old hangry.
Yeah.
Well, to give people an idea, like like you can be doing a session at 6 a.m. and then still at the gym at 7 p.m. How many sessions would you possibly be running a week at the moment? And
over the course of a week, so Monday to Friday, I think for the last few months has been about 30 to 35 sessions over the 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's no boredom in the middle of the day. You're doing programming and
yeah. So I've got all the one-to-one session, like face-to-face sessions I do, and then on top of that I have I don't know how many. I've got maybe 12, 15 people who I program for who I don't do the sessions with, so I have to make sure their program's always up to date and give them feedback on their sessions. So the time when I'm not actually with someone or doing a class or something, I will usually either spend an hour for myself to train or do whatever I need to do, eat lunch, blah, 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 and then spend the next couple of hours doing the programming and going through feedback and all the rest of that stuff.
Yeah, cool. So it's not just physically being there and training people, but it's also mentally, helping them get through the session, helping them. Sometimes you become a counsellor throughout the session, plus
All
your
the time.
programming. There's a lot of mental energy going into your day as well. So, that's why it can be exhausting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just long days.
Yeah.
But it's good. I do enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it. So,
yeah. Oh, we know how much you love doing it and how much you love your clients. And once we go around the table, I want to come back to what we call, what I heard the other day referred to as the big picture coach. I want to get your opinions on that. But So yeah, so 2020's probably been, although you've had to adapt, but you've found a lot of yourself, worked on yourself a lot this year, which has been a real positive.
Yeah, I don't, like, there's been a lot of things which I feel like I should reflect back on and feel negative about. Like, I lost my grandfather, I had the blood clot, I had holidays cancelled, didn't have work for 3 months. Like, there's a lot of things I could easily look back on and go, oh, what a crap year this year's been. It's been really hard. But I really, although those things happened, I'm actually really grateful for this year. Like, a lot of really positive things have happened, and I can only look back upon it with, like, gratitude, really. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're alive.
And I'm alive, which is very good.
It's good. Maddie, 2020 for you, mate.
I don't even know what to say, really.
What did you have plans, like, when 2020 first rolled around? Did you, like, where were you? What was your plans? Do you remember? And then what changed?
I think at the start of 2020, I think I was coming off 2019 where I was, I think, 360 of the 365 days I'd spent at the gym, pretty much coaching and running things, running comps and everything, and I spent so long in this consistent routine. Yeah. And then coming into 2020, I was probably the strongest and the fittest, and I was just looking at comps. I was like, all right, I'm going to do 8 comps this year or something silly. Yeah. And then bang, everything sort of stopped, and I was like, shit, what do I do? Yeah. And I think when we had the podcast, I'm fairly certain that was either the week after I'd been let go or the week before. And I think that sort of first few months, I think it was
the week after.
The week after? Yeah. So coming the first, and what was that? When was that?
I feel like 10 years has passed.
Yeah, I think it was March.
Yeah.
No, the beginning of April.
Yeah, I think it was April, because I actually hadn't gone back to the gym for a couple of weeks. Yeah. And then we did it inside the gym, so I'm thinking maybe April.
We'd moved into, the gym had moved into a new facility and everything. We were sort of working out, trying to make the work best and get back into routine and everything to sort that out. And then all these incidents in Wuhan had happened.
Closer.
Everything in Wuhan happened, and then we were sort of getting like little bits of, oh, this is going to happen, this is what's going to come, and no one really knew what was happening. So a lot of my time was just trying to tell people, oh, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, if anything happens, it's going to happen, but no need to worry about it now.
You can't control it.
Yeah, and I think the whole time I was doing that, I was just trying to prevent myself from losing it. Yeah. Because I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah. And then obviously it happened. I was let go because of everything with money related, all that sort of stuff. And when that happened, I think I lost my routine, and that was probably where everything went downhill for me. Yeah. And I still don't really have a routine now. I wish I did. But I think that was probably where the most negative things from 2020 is probably that's it. Yeah. I lost my routine. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I don't know if I had everything in the world I could do, or I didn't have much to do. Yeah. I was like, oh, what do I do now? And I was flicking between, do I want to pursue Forge and just get that booming as much as I can, or do I want to take time off, or do I was just questioning. And then luckily enough, I met Kirsty, and that it created a bit more stability for me, I think, because I always had, all right, at least now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I know what I'm doing, because I'll see Kirsty at the end of the day, so that way I can plan things to do and whatnot. Yeah. And it was amazing how much that helped me. Yeah. Because I'm, all those things that you talk about where you, at peace and everything, I think I just think all day. And there was a few days in that where I didn't speak to anyone. Yeah. Like, I'd wake up, do my thing, everyone would be out doing stuff, and I wouldn't talk to anyone. Yeah. Whereas the year before, I spent probably 20 hours out of 24 talking to people. So yeah, it was a really big change, but we change and grow. So I think
because not only did you your routine changed, but you lost connection.
Oh, big time.
With a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which when you're the operations man at the gym and you're coaching and you're organising comps, people, you know, they rely on you, and there's a lot of connection there, and there's a lot of relationships, and then to come, you know, the next year, and there's not that becomes a big void in your life.
Yeah.
And that's been tough.
Oh, big time. I think it's that, I guess one way is putting it, easy communication, whereas you just talk to people, like, you're going to be there, you're going to be talking to people.
Yeah.
You don't really have to think about what, like, you just...
Yes.
Not run your mouth, but you talk, oh, how's the day, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, oh, I have to reach out to that person for a reason. Like, I think that's, I probably don't struggle with that. It's just I'm a very intrinsic person. Yeah. So I won't really reach out to people, won't talk to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people take that the wrong way. Yeah. But, I mean, that's me. Yeah. I can apologise and everything, but...
It doesn't mean you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. That's probably been the toughest. Like, I've crossed my fingers and I haven't had any issues with coronavirus. Like, it's... For me, it's just been stuff on the news. So no one's come into contact and anything. It's just everything's been shut.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, there's been a few different people there, like either work's got busier for them and it hasn't affected them one iota. You've got other people that their whole industry's gone and they don't even have a job in that industry anymore. And then you've got people that have got a blend and a mix of, there's been, you know, shut down of their premises, but then they've found work in a similar role elsewhere, but it's not the same. And so, yeah, it's everyone's had to try and adapt to some new normal. Yeah. It has been an interesting ride, that's for sure.
Oh, big time. I'm still trying to adjust to it all now. So yeah. But we're coming into what, is this the second wave of all this?
Well, who knows? Yeah. So as we speak, so it went from 0 to 17 cases on the northern beaches to 28 cases, and I haven't heard the news today. But you know, so you guys have got a holiday plan which might be affected. So where are you going?
We had planned on going road tripping around Tassie for 2 weeks in the new year. We have our tickets booked on the boat to go over. We hadn't booked anything in Downing. We just wanted to. We had got the car ready. We've got the rooftop tent. We've got everything sorted. But I don't know. We might not be able to go.
Don't close the borders.
Bloody hope. I'm really glad that we're camping for 2 weeks because we didn't have to book accommodation everywhere. Didn't have to we've got a boat ticket that we paid for, but
that's on the Spirit of Tasmania. Yeah.
So
So for 2020 for you, are you coming out of 2020 in a better place than you were say around June, July, or are you still?
I don't really know if it's sort of I'm in a better place or I'm in a worse place. I think I observed what happened there and I go, okay, well, I need to get routine back in my life because that's what makes, like, not really makes me happy, makes me sad or not. It's like I was strongest and fittest and most organised I've been. Now I'm sort of train twice a week if I really get into the mood. And I think I've been working, I think I work for 4 different jobs, and then some weeks I'll do 38 hours working, and then some weeks I'll do like 40, and then it'll be 10. Yeah. So that's my issue.
Yeah.
So I think if I can get that organised, and I don't know whether I'll get that done in the next 14 days we have.
I think we can all just sort of take a break and just go into 2021. Yeah. But you've started training people at last round.
Yeah. Jim? Well, I've done a few PT sessions. Which PT is originally what I started out doing, and then I was coaching predominantly, so writing programs and just sort of supervising, and now I'm back to PT, which I love. Yeah. Because I actually converse with people.
Yeah.
And it's a meaningful conversation.
Yes.
So I'm doing more and more of that. I sort of want to play it slow so that I'm not rushing back into it, and I've sort of done everything without thinking about why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with where I am with Forged at the moment.
Yeah, good.
And I can't really complain.
Yeah.
Obviously in 2021 I want to pick up more clients and everything.
Yeah.
Once I've got that routine back in order, and that's I'm an easy man.
Yeah.
So.
Well, keep being easy, mate.
Yeah.
Well, 2020 for me has been a year that in my life is going to go down as one that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
So I started the year, I was co-owner of a CrossFit gym. I was planning on running X amount of comps this year, building the community, building the business. I was working anywhere from 10 to 15 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I'm glad that didn't continue, because I had no life myself, and I was really I was a shell of a man. I was always trying to I was busy doing really nothing for myself, and I was just, it was all about the community and trying to build that gym. And then COVID hit, and literally we were watching the news, but it was sort of, when you own the gym, there's a lot at stake.
Oh, yeah.
There's, there was 2 full-time employees, and then there's 100 members, and then you could see it coming, but you didn't realise how impactful it would be. Then the cases got to about 260 or around 260 for the day. And then the Prime Minister comes out, says news conference Sunday night, and then says, as of tomorrow midday, you are going to be shut indefinitely.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Everyone
that, yeah. And the old me went straight to, panic and, this is terrible, and, this is life out to get us. And so we shut the gym, and I really felt, because I felt lost, and I felt just something, I didn't know what I would do, who I was. Next thing, I was in my apartment or studio place, and we were forced to not really go anywhere. So it was really like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I was on my own. One thing I've been running from my whole life is being alone. I never ever liked being in my own head, because it was, my ego ran my life. So, now I understand that there were, there's stuff from my childhood which I didn't understand. There was a person who cared about, I really needed other people's validation of who I was. Yeah. I attached myself to material things. I had the disease of more. So I wanted more. I needed money to be someone. I needed to have 3 businesses to be someone. I needed to be liked. I needed to be popular. I would manipulate situations to be the popular one. I would, even though it doesn't suit me, I would try and be the clown and try and, do outlandish and risky things to get attention. And to all of a sudden be sitting there on my own, I was facing everything that I was running from. Yeah. And this went on then for probably 2 weeks. I'm now starting to notice that I had nothing to do, and there's only so many people you can call, and there was nowhere to go. Yeah. So I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment studio, and so I started to take notice of what was around me, because I was forced to actually sit there and do nothing. So I started to look at nature and started to look, because I had views of the mountains and stuff. So I started to feel a little bit more peaceful when I started to notice things around me. And because I'd lived there for 2.5 years at that point, or 3 years. So yeah, it's 3 years actually at that point. I never noticed anything around there because I never took the time to stop and take notice.
You never had a reason to.
Never had a reason to. And it was around then that I started to found the power of now. And it was all about being present in your own skin and your own life. And I started to listen to this audiobook. I found myself crying.
Yeah.
Because it was so confronting that the person that I had been for 45 years was someone who was not stable. I had a very low opinion of myself. I had no confidence. I hated the person I'd become. I'd had 2 failed marriages. I was bankrupt. And all of this was because I was living through my ego and chasing things that actually didn't matter. And this book was like pointing all of that out.
Yeah.
And it was, shit, like this is really upsetting because it's really confronting.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I really had noticed there was 2 of me. And because all of my life I'd realised there were 2 people inside me at war. One was the chase the money, get this, do that, just be like, you got to be popular.
Yeah.
And then there'd be the other person that was, I now know that's just the real me, just going, I want to settle down, man. Like I don't want that. I just want some peace in my life, and I just want to take it easy. But they were always at war. And I noticed that my ego was just, the more I got into this, listening to this, the more my ego was just copping it. And my life, I can probably explain 90% of my life I was living through my ego and 10% through the real me.
Yeah.
I also listened to the New Earth because that is a follow-on for it's like a second edition, and that the more I immersed myself into those 2 books, the more I started to understand why I was sitting there, 2 divorces, bankrupt, hating myself. It all made sense.
Yeah.
It was like finally the realisation that I understood why I did things the way I did. Then also on top of that was the traumas that I had not dealt with from being in the cops for 8 years, and I'd actually run away from them and had suppressed them, and I'd used alcohol throughout my 20s to cope with a lot of stuff that went on there, and I never shared any of that. And even now my family and friends are only, I'm starting to share stuff with them because I feel like I'm in a great place now, and I'm happy to share that. I'm not running from them, I'm not hiding from them, because I don't want my ego is pretty much gone now, so it's my insecurities and fears I'm happy to share and be vulnerable. Because before I wouldn't want to say, hey, I went to this job and I cried when I was driving home from work, and because my ego was saying, don't tell anyone about that because you're weak and you're not a man, and
oh, man.
And so your whole masculinity is at stake, and so you just hide it. Well, for the first time, I'm starting to expose all of that, and it's been life-changing.
Oh yeah. And
so there's a moment that I'll never forget for the rest of my life, and it's my caterpillar story. And so I was sitting out on the deck. So I've got a wooden deck which overlooked the mountains, the valley and the mountains, and it's probably about 3 meters wide. And I was just sitting there on my own. It was a very clear, peaceful day. There wasn't a sound. It was really peaceful where I was. No wind. And this caterpillar crawled out of the garden on one side of the decking I just looked at it, and because it was some movement, and without realising it, I started to watch this caterpillar, and I watched it crawl the whole length of the deck until it, because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And it disappeared into the garden on the other side. Now, why I'm telling this story is because that maybe took 15 minutes. That 15 minutes was the most peaceful I'd ever felt in my life. And I realised it after it disappeared. Yeah. But I realised that it held my full attention for that 15 minutes. Before that, I was stressing about money, I was stressing about the gym, I was stressing about, what's going to happen in 2020, where am I going to go, what are we going to do? I'm living in the past, my mind's in the past, my mind's projecting into the future. But I was so present in that moment of just watching that caterpillar the whole way. So, long story short, it's the most peaceful and content. I could have died right then and been okay with it because I was so in the moment. I was so relaxed and so peaceful. There was nothing in my mind, and and that's when everything changed from that moment. Ever since then, I've looked at things so differently. Very similar. I've cried a lot this year because it's been very confronting for me. It's when you try and understand yourself to be a better person, no one can come and do it for you. No one can come and say, just do this and do that. Yeah. You have to confront the truths yourself. You have to then work on those truths and then practice those truths and be aware of who you are and who you're around and what matters to you and who you matter to. So as a result of that, I'm going to always remember 2020 for the year that woke me up. It's a year that I can honestly say I've killed off the majority of my ego. So now I live 90% the true real me and 10% of ego. I think we all have some form of doubts and insecurities that pop up. But for me, being 45 and having been so conditioned by it, I'm still working on trying to kill, what I'm proud of is that I'm aware of it, and then I can make a decision of whether I want to continue down or not. And also the year that letting go of comparing myself to others, letting go of money, letting go of I needed to have a flash car, letting go of toxic people, letting go of the business. I just walked away from a business that I half owned because it was an environment that was no longer making me happy, and it was an environment that was not bringing me peace and freedom in myself. And I found that I was just being burnt out and exhausted, frankly, by trying to help people that didn't care about me.
Yep.
And so I let go of that. And so and it's funny now that my biggest fears too was letting go of all of those things, especially the business, because it provided me income. So now I'm now have my own counselling business. I've moved to a place, so something I wrestled with was I always loved the water and the beach, and I've always wanted to be back by the beach. I've made it happen, so I've moved now back to the beach or the coastal area. So everything that I've been through this year and making those changes, letting go of the toxic people, toxic environments, letting go of money, and moving to a place that brings me peace and happiness, I'll always remember this as a year that changed the course of my life for the better.
Yeah.
Because I was on a track where I had so many demons in my head. I've got no kids. I've got no possessions. I didn't, I left a job. I'm very high risk category of what's my purpose in my life, what's keeping me here. So, but I have found now that the 2020 and the lessons I've learned from it has given me that purpose. So the next 45 years of my life are going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's 2020 for me.
All it took was a global pandemic.
Yes, all it took.
Caterpillar.
All it took, and it was the caterpillar that, made that, the realisation. And I think we all get so caught up in our heads that we're thinking, and whenever that caterpillar made me realise that I was forever thinking, I was never feeling. When that caterpillar disappeared into the garden, I realised what I felt. And I just felt so much peace and love and for nature.
Yeah.
I've never been a nature person, like ever. I've now got indoor plants and
Indoor plants is nature.
But
They're
it's
not overrated.
yeah.
Matt hates my indoor plants.
I don't
really?
hate them.
I have 7.
7
in my room.
7 indoor
Hate's
plants.
a strong
In just
word.
one
It's just,
room.
Yeah, hate's a strong
He
word.
doesn't like them He doesn't like them as much as I like them. That's for sure.
Are we looking forward to 2021? Do you have any goals?
I have no clue.
Yep.
And I'm excited. And I'm excited because I have no clue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever happens.
Absolutely. It's great just to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's like things I know are certains, and then everything else that happens,
Yep. Yep.
which I'm happy with.
Yeah. You got any?
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what it will have in store. I'm just at a place where I'm really content with what I'm already doing.
Yeah.
So in terms of business-oriented goals, I just kind of want to keep doing exactly what I'm already doing. I don't have any giant expectations or numbers I want to hit with anything. I just want to keep providing what I'm already providing for everyone. I've reached a point where I feel like where I'm at right now, I can't really manage any more people than I already am. And then if I was to take on more people, then it takes away from the people I'm already taking care of. So I just want to be able to keep caring and giving my clients I already have 100% for next year. So I'm pretty much just really happy with how everything already is. Sarah is looking at taking on more clients, so I'll help her keep growing her business now. So we can just share the Built by Klein name. And I'm looking forward to just helping. I'm just really looking forward to helping Sarah through the new year. She's got a big year coming up, like potential for the Olympics to go ahead. That's a big uncertainty as well, but just doing whatever I can to help her achieve what she needs to achieve this year.
Is she going to qualify? Like, what would she be doing? Hurdles or?
Yeah.
Damn.
400 metre hurdles?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they've put the Olympics back to September again, this 2021.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's September.
Oh, okay.
And so she has to try and qualify early this year for that.
Yeah.
That's if the Olympics end up going ahead in Japan.
Hope she gives me her gold medal.
She probably won't.
Oh, Sarah.
Just quickly on that, you're a great example of being content with what you've got. Like, you've got people all the time asking you, can I be trained by you? Can I come and be, can you write me a program? And I've been guilty before of saying to you, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? But that was my ego projecting onto you that, hey, more. And then, but you've said, no, my clients who I have, I want to give them 100% of me. And so the number that you have that you can provide good service to and care to, And so for you, it's not about more. You're content with, being where you are.
Yeah, 100%. There was, like 2.5 years now, I think, that since I made the move to Last Round and I started my own business there. And obviously in the beginning, I spoke about this last time, it was very scary and overwhelming, and you have multiple people telling you should do this and why don't you try this and here's a good idea, and you're trying to figure out what's the best approach to go about it. And I think over the last couple of years, I've always just had this feeling like no, I'm really happy just doing this. And to most people that I guess would, or to some people, that just kind of comes across as maybe I lack ambition or I'm a bit lazy. I have no desire to do more or branch out or go into online stuff. And yeah, I guess that comes across as lacking ambition. And that for a long time I thought, well, maybe, that is what it is. I have no ambition to do that. Maybe it's because I'm lazy and I can't be bothered. Maybe that's why. And then for a long time I had to battle with the idea that I was just lazy. That's why I didn't have the desire to go bigger. But then this year I really realised that no, it's not laziness. It's just more that I'm content, and being content with what I've got and being mindful of what I can give to my clients has made a really big difference into my approach to things, and I don't feel bad for not wanting to do more. I'm doing as much as I can and as much as I need to get by, and I'm proud of what I give my clients and I'm proud of what I do every day. I just feel like what I have is exactly fine.
You're self-aware enough to know that you're not comparing yourself to other trainers and other businesses. You're aware that this is the amount of clients I have, and this is the quality of my clients, and I can give them all the care that I need, but it has to be around this number.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to live a happy, peaceful life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the people that are getting out there and I want more, and they're doing better than I am, and trying to.
They're doing this. Maybe I should try and do that. And it's when you start trying to do what other people are doing, you kind of lose sight of what you actually can do and what you enjoy doing, and then that's when you get stressed and overwhelmed and you lose interest in your job, and it doesn't become a happy place to be anymore. So just stay in your lane, do what you know you can do. You don't need to listen to what everybody else is doing.
Just be
yourself.
As long
as you know you're happy and you know that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Yeah. I heard a concept the other day, and I was hanging to ask you guys what you thought about this. And the term was the big picture coach. A lot of people think that personal trainers, coaches, it's just about sets and reps and the amount of weight, and you just do a program and put it in front of someone and then you just guide them through that program. But now, with what people are going through physically and mentally, spiritually, socially, coaches and trainers need to step back and look at the big picture of that person's life. And so your sessions and how you interact with that person now becomes, how can I help you physically through sets and reps and weights, but then how now mentally, how are we interacting in our sessions? How are you looking after your sleep and your nutrition and your self-care, and who are you talking to about your issues, and how are you educating yourself? What education are you passing on to them of what books to read, podcasts to listen to? Do you find that's now the case, that the successful coaches or the ones that are most content are the big picture coaches?
I'd say so, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Like funny you bring all that up, probably the last I want to say week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I think 2 of my clients have like come out and they're going, oh, they've like started talking in our sessions. So I think, like it's pretty good for me because I kind of go, what are all the things I'm not doing? And I sort of like, I'm happy to admit I'm a massive hypocrite when I train people because I go, are you sleeping, are you eating, you're doing this, you're doing that, you do it, like one of the things that I sort of do. Obviously they're coming to me because they want that help and that thing. Yeah. And they both stopped and go, oh, I'm not thinking about all this. Like I came to the session and go, all right, I want you to kill me for an hour. But you kind of go, yeah, that's good. And you get a positive result after that. But what do you want to do in 3 years or 3 months or whatever? And they sort of go, oh, shit. And they've both come out and talked about more issues that they've had in the past. And they go, oh, like our sessions now are not an hour of training. It's like 25% of talking about how's your life going this week? What do you do this week? Then there's 25% of that's training, which is easy to do because you don't really have to talk. And then we go, all right, what are you going to do this week on? And then it's just talk the other 25%. So yeah.
Are you finding that too?
What did I want to say?
The big picture coach.
The idea of becoming a personal trainer is very glamorous and like all people think that's a really great lifestyle. You just get to train a couple of people and then that's it. Like you go home, you have lots of time off and all of that. But really, like when you develop the relationships with your clients, they have contact with you whenever they need it. And you would know that with what you do as well. So it's really, and a lot of it comes back to everyone's performance, I guess you'd say, with that 1 hour they might be with you, comes back to everything else they've got going on in their life and everything else they've been doing that day or the day before or during that week. So to have a set program in place and say, okay, this is what we're going to do today, no matter what, like it's crazy because they could have come in off 2 hours sleep and they haven't had any water since like the day before and they skipped dinner and like their energy levels are really low and like, well, why are you doing this? You have to really work on fixing all these things out because you're not going to get anything out of them for the session really. And when all they really might need is just, I don't know, a light day, a good chat. Okay, this is the plan forward from here to make sure next time you come in I see you're actually going to be performing at an optimal level. So there's a lot more involved than just here's your program, let's do it. Looking at technique, blah, blah, blah. And I think success or, what's the word I'm looking for? Improvements in people. Like for instance, we've just had the 12-week challenge at the gym and the results are only based on, the winner is based on your results a DEXA scan gives you. So everything you've done in the 12-week period all comes back to one number you get printed out on a piece of paper saying whether you've lost fat and put muscle on or whatever. So if that one sheet of paper has a negative result or not quite the result you're after, then everyone's so quick to just say, oh, what have I done for the last 12 weeks? It's been such a waste. What's the point
of the last 12 weeks?
It's been such a waste of time. I haven't done anything. I haven't achieved anything. And this happened quite a lot, like with this challenge. There was quite a few people with the same result. But then you have to go, no, well, actually yesterday you were feeling terrific about yourself and you had so much energy. You said you haven't had an injury this whole time. Your body's been feeling great. You've moved well. You've hit PBs in your lifts. Like
you're down a dress size or
pant size. You're down. Yeah, you actually look a lot leaner. Your clothes fit better. So you can't just dismiss all of those things based on one number that's printed out on a piece of paper. The big picture there is you actually got to base success on how you're feeling. How you're feeling. If you can do things well, like you're competent in doing things in just day-to-day life. Like if you can get through the day without having to need to ask for assistance for anything, even if you need to ask for assistance, but it's like just about being healthy and moving well and being pain-free and I think if you can be those things, then the numbers that you get on the scale, the number that you get printed out on your DEXA scan, those kind of are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, guys. I just really like that term, and I think we are moving to a time where you know, if you're thinking of being a personal trainer or a coach, you have to be prepared to be the big picture coach to have any longevity or sustainability in it. Being at last round, how's that? How do you find the culture there? What are your thoughts about Matt Hamilton?
He's pretty handsome.
He does remind me of Wolverine.
He's like crazy is how I would, like, he can, I don't know anyone that could do everything, like, in a matter of like physical work, like 10 different jobs he'll do in one day, and then he'll still make the time to talk to every single person, and then he's still happy and he's still laughing and everything, and then he'll go pick up the kids and then go home, make dinner. Like,
yeah, he literally never stops.
Yeah.
He's a superhuman.
Like, I see that and I'm like, that's amazing, but then I'm the other side of it is I'm like, please slow down.
You're making the rest of us look bad.
Well, not even that, like, I don't want you to burn out, like.
Yeah.
But even then I think he's built up such a strong ability to just keep going.
A resilience.
Yeah.
I think it's just in his nature. He just can't. I don't know that he's ever been able to stop. But no, last round has had it was a really tough time during lockdown. But I think this whole year has really shown just how strong the community is that Matt's created there with all the members. It's a testament to him, really. Like, during the lockdown period, he underwent massive renovations in the gym. He had this huge picture in his mind that he wanted to create, and then when we got told, yeah, gyms can open in a month, we looked at the gym and we went, we aren't going to finish this in a month. Like, what have we done? This is crazy. And then every single day we had members upon members coming in whenever they could, just to lend a hand. They wanted to get it done. They knew how much this meant and we needed to finish it. So it was just people taking time out of their own time and lives to spend helping Matt finish the gym, just because everyone was so passionate about it. And that wouldn't happen unless, like, they loved being there and unless they respected him. And so I think that was really quite nice to see that, and then to have the end result and the gym nearly finished. It's nearly done now, and then have our Christmas party the other week, and the like, we had a sheet because you have to have a limited number of people at the party. The sheet, I think it was 70 or 80 members, filled up within a day.
75 people in one day.
75 people put their name down in a day. We had to have extra sheets, and it was like, it's just such an overwhelming response for that gym. And I think it all comes back to Matt and Lisa and what they've created there. And he's so passionate. I've never met anyone more passionate about what they do. And that really just reflects in how the business is going and the members. Yeah.
So from my point of view, obviously I was co-owner at CrossFit Aridi, and I've known Matt for a while, and I've watched him, open that gym up and go from strength to strength. And I've always admired the way he conducted business. What I became amazed at, and I took my admiration to another level, was there were 4 full-time people at CrossFit Aridi doing the job he does on his own, with less members and a smaller space. And the more I got to be involved with Matt and realise what he did, it really changed my opinion on the other 3 full-time people, and how we were working together and how we were contributing. And then I realised we weren't a team. We should have been achieving 4 times the...
4 independent people.
4 independent people, only concerned for themselves. So to see Matt do the job of 4 people, as well as build a community, as well as have time for anyone. I respect him so much, and he's, last round as a gym will outlive him now because of what he's building. He's building actually a foundation of a legacy.
You can see as well in the fact that he's not doing it because he's going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
He does it because he likes it.
Yes.
Which you don't, like, how many gyms do you see these days where people are, like, I could probably name a few strongman gyms where people are like that.
Yeah.
And it's like no real, they're not making money, they're not popular, they're not this and everything, and it's just people that enjoy doing what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is really rewarding to see.
Yeah.
And what drew me in particular there. So.
Yeah. It's so good to, as an outsider, and I've been there a couple of times, but to see how the community interacts with the coaches and Matt and each other. And like you said, everyone rallied around to help finish the gym with construction and everything. It's just so good to see, and that's what gyms should be.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. But Wolverine, he's a special man.
He is, yep. He is.
I wanted to ask you guys, and for some value for people listening, what books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? What people are you following to... that are motivating, inspiring, educating us? Okay,
well, Matt's been listening to an interesting podcast about frogs last time.
Oh, yeah.
Frogs. This is a variety show, so...
I'll start because I only have like one.
Yeah.
Because Kirsty lives 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm driving to her house, I'll normally put on a podcast.
Perfect.
I'll listen to music.
Yeah.
But I struggle listening to stuff. I'm very content in not listening, not reading books, not doing anything. There's a podcast about 2 American guys that just talk about American history.
Yeah.
And there's just some crazy, I think they were talking about canned frogs or something. And it was just, it's really good for me because I, probably your caterpillar moment and you're sitting outside, I listen to that and I'm sitting there going, what the hell? I don't, it's probably bad while I'm driving, but I just zone out and I'm just focused on that. And
and you're not thinking about credit cards, you're not thinking about car loans, you're not thinking about people who've got kids, you're not thinking about them, you know, the problems that they're causing you. Yeah. It's good. What's it called, do you know?
The dollop.
The dollop?
Yeah, like a dollop of cream.
Yeah.
But I'll find myself, I'll get to Kirsty's house and I'll still sit in the car for 10, 15 minutes.
That's when you know you're onto a good thing. When you reach your destination and you sit in the car to keep listening to it.
So,
crazy.
That's the only thing I've got.
What about you, mate?
Okay. Well, I've listened to lots of books this year. The first book, which was really great, was Sapiens. I think you listened to that one too.
It's a good one.
It goes for a long time, but it's really good. Just basically, how do you describe it? Like
it's a easy listen about the history of mankind.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's how we've evolved to where we are today.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just focus on, ancestry. They go back tens of thousands of years, but they also talk about 2020 and how we've evolved in between.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed that. That, obviously, The Power of Now and New Earth, I've listened to them maybe 3 times each this year.
Yep.
I listened to The Happiest Man on Earth. Oh, I think that was just like a really good...
Is that the Jewish?
The Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
It was just a phenomenal story. I could not stop listening to it. It was really, really good. So, highly recommend. But the latest book I have been listening to is David Attenborough's A Life on Our Planet. His witness statement, basically.
The witness statement, yeah.
So I watched the documentary on Netflix and then I just downloaded the book to listen to as well, which is a little bit more in-depth. So not gonna lie, it's pretty depressing. Very depressing. Why has this have to happen? Anyway, if you listen to it, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah.
it gets to a point towards the end where it gives us a solution and a bit of hope. If we can do it, then hopefully the world won't end.
Yeah. Basically, the human race as a collective ego destroying the planet.
Yeah.
And we're basically going to just destroy
everything.
We've
got the sixth extinction on the way.
Yeah.
There's been 6 huge extinctions in the whole time of the Earth, and
we're the next one.
Well, this is the 6th one.
What's another pandemic? We lived through one.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the one I've been listening to. There's been a couple of other books, philosophy related, which for me I've really enjoyed. I don't know how many other people would get much out of it, but...
Yeah, but if anyone's interested in philosophy, the meaning of life, the power of presence, they can come and see you.
They can come and see me and ask me.
She's every answer you need, she's got.
Yeah. That's good. Is there anyone that you guys like a human that you look to for inspiration, or?
Kirsty.
Yeah. Well said. That's well said. That'll get you bonus points.
She's been my caterpillar this year, I reckon.
Yeah, it's good, and it's probably been really important with the connections that you've lost, like as a collective.
Oh yeah.
But now all of that's been focused into one connection that's made up for all of them.
I can't top that.
That's good. That's good.
I don't really know.
Any others? So, books wise, so I discovered audiobooks this year. So that's been now I can't read. So now I'm just listening to them. I don't even know how to read anymore.
I don't know if I could listen to a book.
Yeah. I didn't think that either, but now I can't go back to books.
Yeah,
anyway, weird. But, okay, 1, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. 2, A New Earth, again by Eckhart Tolle. And you have to listen to them in that order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 3, I've come across a phenomenal woman who is a relationship psychiatrist, and her name is Esther Perel. And she writes a book called The State of Affairs. For anyone in a relationship, it's a fantastic listen or read. Another book, Lost Connections by Johann Yari, and that's a fascinating insight into the world of prescription drugs, antidepressants. It's getting to the end of the day, I'm starting to fade. Antidepressants, the prevalent use of those, the overuse of them, the suicides or accidental deaths and suicides from prescription drugs, the research that these pharmaceutical companies use and how flawed it is to actually con basically doctors and the human race that they're needed. And why it's titled Lost Connections is the way he out of prescription drugs for him was connection to other humans. And so it just sort of describes all of that, and that's been a real eye-opening read, and I've got a lot of value out of that. I also listened to that Happiest Man on Earth. Mm-hmm. I cried 3 times in that. Oh,
it just puts so much into perspective.
Yeah.
You just think, how can one human go through so much stuff and still be happy and content with what he has?
Yeah. I actually feel like have more gratitude after hearing that. Nothing that'll go on in my life will be as bad as what... Yeah, exactly. Podcasts, I'm addicted to podcasts now, especially when I'm driving so much these days.
Yeah, you've got a lot of driving.
Number 1, Joe Rogan Experience. Number 2, so a really good friend, and we share a lot of ideas and things these days. Matt Fletcher, he put me on to a guy named Craig Harper, and he has a podcast called The U Project. And the U Project is all about, and he's doing a PhD in self-awareness and the PhD that he's doing is all about, are you aware of your presence in when you are with other people? So are you aware of how you are projecting yourself onto other people? How are other people perceiving you during a conversation?
Yeah, it's so important.
It's so important, yeah. So the You Project, it currently has about 330 episodes, and he has a whole range of different people on there talking everything, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional stuff. Awesome podcast. Then another guy that Matt Fletcher also put me onto was, and you can follow this guy on Facebook or Instagram, and his name's Jeff Jowett, and it's Geoff Jowett. He also had a large supplement company. He is just a phenomenal guy who, lived through his ego, wanted more, that disease and more. He talks about, that he was a lunatic, he was an alcoholic. He actually was dead inside. And now he's turned his life around, and now he helps other people change their lives by him changing him, by being an example of that. And he has some great quotes like, black and white, you sleep at night, live in the grey, you'll fade away. So things in your life, if you've got them in your lane and they're black and white, you know what works, what doesn't work for you, you know what feels good and what doesn't feel good. It's black and white, so you'll sleep at night because you're at peace. When your mind is going everywhere, it's in the grey,
In between both.
and then your life just fades away. And it's same in relationships, like communication between two people is like black and white, it's clear, you just both are on the same page. But if the communication isn't there, then your relationship ends up being this big grey area, and you end up fading away. So he has those things like that have really resonated with me. And
what's Joe Rogan's podcast about? I see so many ads for it on like every platform.
So it's the number one podcast in the world.
That could be why. In
terms of numbers. But the reason why is the range of guests that he has on goes from astrophysicist through to a comedian. And then the next day he'll have someone who walked from the east coast to west coast of China and how their experience. Then the next day he'll have Bernie Sanders, who was running for president, on. Then he'll have an archaeologist on, talking about how mountains were formed, how the Himalayas were formed, and
he's just got so much content. Really,
it's just So basically, he reaches out to the best people in their field, whoever's mastered their field, or someone who's done something incredible.
Yep.
And it's endless. There's no lane. It could be anyone, but it's always interesting. And it's not just, he doesn't just talk about, like he had a woman on, Emily Harrington, on recently, and she was the first woman to climb the face of a mountain unassisted.
Oh yeah.
But they also then go on and talk about what she thinks about this and what she thinks about that. So who are you as a person?
Yeah.
You've also done this great thing, but who are you as a character, and what's your opinion on this? And it's just really interesting. Yeah, so, and some of the podcasts go from 90 minutes through to 3.5, 4 hours.
Wow.
So some people, and I mean, I started watching them, and they're just, you can't stop because it's just so much good content.
Yeah.
And like you get like a TV show or someone interviews them on TV and it's scripted, and you stumbled your words there, can we just retake that? Or I didn't like your tone, the way you said that, or the agenda of our TV station is this, so can you please not say that? Whereas here, it's open slather.
Yeah.
They'll drink whiskey, they'll smoke cigars, they'll smoke pot. Both of them, it's just people being people and communicating about whatever they're a master or an expert at, as well as who they are as a person. And Joe Rogan he has the ability to adapt of whoever is in front of him to be able to who they are out of them. Elon Musk, a comedian, they could be on the same day. 1 minute he's talking to Elon Musk and the next minute he's talking with someone who walked, across Antarctica unassisted. So he's
learning.
Yeah.
He's probably doing that more so for himself than anything.
Yeah, he does. And he said, my success is I only have people I'm interested in hearing from.
Yeah.
Like, it's just me. I'm interested in what you are about and what you've done. So, and then I just get curious about you and I sit there and talk to you. Do you like whiskey or do you want a cigar? Well, yeah, relax. Let's do that. And then you just talk. And it's addictive. I love it. I've learnt so much.
Oh, you learn so much random stuff by the sound of it.
Yeah. Like
You'd be good at trivia.
Yeah, you end up feeling like you have a degree in
life.
Like Joe Rogan.
Life.
So well, that's it, guys. Do you want anything else you want to bring up about?
I'm trying to learn Japanese.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I can count to 10. That's about it.
Can you do it now?
Ichi, ni, san, yo, go, roku, hachi, nana, hachi, ruju.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably chopped it up, but
He's learning Japanese, so when we go to Japan and we take up sumo wrestling, we'll be taken seriously.
Yep.
Do you know what? Okay, 2020, one of my favourite stories on Instagram was you holding sumo like
Sumo
Kirsty.
Sumo
Kirsty.
Yeah, with Sumo Sarah watching.
Yeah.
Referee.
That was probably one of my top 3 favourite stories of this year because it was just hilarious. Did you say itchy knee to start with?
Yeah, it's itchy knee.
It's pretty easy to remember because you got itchy knee.
Yeah.
Sachi.
No, it was San's 3. Then you got Yogo, which is 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Okay.
Oh, Nana is 7.
So, that's good.
Look at me go.
Yeah. So that's interesting shit. What language
What are you laughing at?
That teaches me Spanish sometimes.
Italian.
Oh.
Quanti anni hai?
I can
Molto
speak
bene.
Spanish and then you start talking Italian.
Molto bene.
You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Et tu?
Italian.
So do you know Italian?
I know like 5 sayings. Tempo di fare festa.
Time to party.
Yeah.
I remembered that one.
Yeah. I think on my Kentucky I learned like 5 different sayings and that was it. So.
All party related.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck, mate, with the Japanese.
Yeah, we'll catch up in 2 months and I'll be able to count to 11 probably.
Yeah. So how about we do a podcast at the end of next year and I'll ask you questions in English and you reply in Japanese.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Pressure's on.
It does take 3 years to learn. I've looked up.
Well, you got 1.
3 years. 3
Fast
years.
forward.
I
That's
looked it
what
up.
2021's about.
Yeah, it said 3 years of 5 hours a day
Wow.
to learn Japanese, a basic ability of Japanese.
Yeah. Are you enjoying it?
I am because I'm playing a Japanese video game
Okay.
and I can understand every 10th word that they say to each other. So
Don't they speak in English?
you can change the subtitles.
Well, you should understand them because it's always in English.
I'm not going to bother learning how to change the language, but I'm just going to learn that language. That's easier.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And I hope you both have a happy New Year. And you know, I both admire what you guys do, and I hope 2021 is everything that you guys want to happens. And yous are both hard workers, and you're both knowledgeable, and yous are both great coaches, and I'm sure that yous will be a success.
You'll want to talk.
So
Thank you very much. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas too.
we will. All right. Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas, big fella.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Let your burps out.